talk about plastic and some other toxins. I recently watched the Netflix documentary, and maybe some other people have been watching this too, called The Plastic Detox. And it just got me thinking like, whoa, Robin and I should talk about this, because what really blew my mind in watching that documentary, I haven't finished all of it, but it blew my mind that plastic was affecting people's fertility. And that specifically just shocked me, that men were struggling with sperm count because of plastic in their body. And I was like, whoa, is this a thing? Like, cause that's crazy. And there's like a pretty incredible doctor on there, and just years of research.
Oh, I wonder if it was the same one I listened to. So I haven't watched this documentary. Was it Dr. Shanna Swan?
I think
Does that sound right?
I think so.
She was going to make a documentary. I didn't know it was out yet.
Okay. Did she have, like, did you see a picture of her?
Yes.
Short hair, glasses.
Yes.
Like short brown hair.
Same one. Oh, how funny.
Neat.
So she was on Joe Rogan.
Oh, yeah, she was. And that was in the documentary.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Okay.
So their conversation that they were having, there were clips of it on the documentary.
Okay. So
yeah, cool. Well, I'm glad that they're like, we're both up to speed now on her, because she's pretty cool. I was like, wow, what a cool lady.
You know? So tons of research, which I think it's super important for us to talk about it, not to create fear. I mean, we were praying right before the podcast that like against fear, because that is not the intent. The intent is to not be ignorant. And if you're not ignorant and you know, then you have the power to actually make different choices. And the choices that you make actually not just impact you, but they impact your children, your unborn child, and their future children. It goes generationally. And so it's so important for us to be aware of how these everyday choices actually impact our health. And then what kind of steps can we do to lower that toxic burden?
Definitely. I remember when I worked at the Menominee Market, and we have that wonderful bulk section there, right? You can get your nuts and rice, like all kinds of things in bulk. And I used to think it was so bizarre when people would come in and they would be complaining about the plastic containers that we had available. And I used to think like, oh my gosh, just put it in the plastic and get out of here. You know, like honestly, I was just like, what's the deal? You know? And then other people would be very, you know, particular with bringing their glass jars in. And that's how I did it too. I would bring my mason jars and fill my bulk items in there, because I felt like it just looked more aesthetically pleasing than the plastic as well. That's why I like glass. I personally think it just looks better as well. And it keeps up better too. I don't know if you feel that way with your Tupperwares, but I've gotten rid of all of mine. And
I have too.
I love glass. It kind of nests nice, you know, in my thing. And
I think the only time it's hard is with travel. Because it's heavy and breakable. So that's been the harder time for me, but I do sometimes carry the heavy glass thing through the airport, but
I do it all the time.
But I think, I just lost my thought. I was thinking about something you had mentioned. I was going to ask you. So when you go to the co-op, do you have them like weigh or measure your glass thing first? Because I've never done that before. So you go in, do you have to go to the desk?
So you can either go to the cashier and put your glass on there, and then you can put the tare weight. And so the tare weight is the number that they minus then from the weight of the product.
Got it.
So you're not getting charged for the glass container.
Right. I was wondering how that worked. So you kind of go through the checkout first. Have them do that. Then you write it down.
You take a little marker, you put the marker on the bottom of your jar so that you know, and then the cashier looks at it and they're like, oh, okay, 0.54 is what I delete from this.
How do you mark the bottom of the jar?
Sharpie.
Oh, okay. So you actually just write with a Sharpie on the bottom of the glass. Okay, cool. So I'm sure other people were wondering the same thing if I was. Because I wanted to do that, but I'm like, I don't know the steps. Like, how do you get the weight first and whatever? So
just go to a cashier. They're super helpful about it there. And same goes, I think they have like a self-register that you could do it yourself as well, which I've done in the past.
Have you? You can measure it or weigh it there too? Oh, okay. Good to know.
It pops up right on the bottom corner of the register.
Okay. Okay. Good to know. So why do we care about plastics? That's the deal. Plastics are everywhere, literally everywhere.
In your clothing. That blew me away. The polyester. Probably wearing it right now. I know I am. I know I'm wearing plastic right now.
I would say that's probably the next thing for me to do is start going through clothing, but it's expensive,
it really is.
So I think we need to be thinking about this more like a long-term thing. So when I'm talking to people about toxins, like when I gave a course on it or a talk on it, people, either eyes are just like glazing over and just like, oh my God, they start thinking about, I just have to go home and change everything right now. Yeah. But the reality is, just change one thing at a time. Yes. As you start running out of things or whatever, or I would ask for Christmas. It sounds boring, but my mom would be like, what do you guys need for Christmas? And I'm like, I need glass containers because they're expensive. And so we replace a little at a time, and then eventually you have all glassware instead of any Tupperware anymore. And so just to be thinking about it and making those changes, you don't have to feel like I have to go completely plastic free tomorrow. Right. You know, it's just not going to happen.
I love those stasher bags too, those silicone bags, like for storing food in the freezer, because sometimes are those like really that much better though? Or I've actually heard that silicone, there's chemicals as well. Yeah. In silicone that aren't great. So I don't know. I don't know what's better. Can we put things, can we just put our glass containers in, you know, but then you've got all these glass containers in the freezer. So I don't know that I have the magic answer for freezer stuff, because I still am wondering myself what to do. So I'm like, okay, I've got to just start with the easies, right? But maybe we'll talk about the big chemical that she was talking about in that documentary. It was phthalates. But there are multiple chemicals in plastics that we need to be concerned about. But in that documentary, she talks about phthalates. And what's interesting about phthalates is we know they really alter testosterone levels, and both in men and women, but especially impacted is the growing embryo. And so they did studies where they measured the amount of phthalates, which come from plastics, in women's urine, because it is water soluble. So we can measure and see how much they have in their body. They would measure the pregnant women, and then they would measure the babies and the amounts in them right at the time of birth. And then they would measure their penis size, and there's a measurement between the anus and the genitals. And that is directly impacted by the amount of phthalates that they found in the mom and the baby. Yeah, I saw that. That's crazy.
And their sperm counts and testosterone levels are impacted by it. So when a baby is first being formed, they're kind of asexual. They have the same kind of cells that are present, and the presence of testosterone is what causes it to be turned into a boy. If without it, it's by default going to be a female. Sure. And so they're seeing less of the impact of testosterone on the male baby. So and what they show it even more drastically in like rats and other animals, where they're like ambiguous genitalia based on how much phthalates are there. But what's concerning is how it is impacting even sperm count, testosterone levels, and it doesn't seem to be reversible. Where an adult who's exposed to phthalates, we might notice that same thing, but it does seem to be reversible. But with a woman who is being exposed, not only is that baby being affected, the cells inside the baby that will produce eggs one day, they're also being impacted. So it's the generation after the next generation. But the good news is they have found that if we clean up the environment and get the chemicals out, then going forward, after so many generations, we'll see it reverse. So we need to start thinking not only about ourselves and our generation or our children, or we might go, well, it's too late. I've already had my kids. They're messed up or whatever, you know, like but we have to be thinking, how can we, and I'm talking to my kids about this and I'm making them watch documentaries and listen to this, because I'm like, you need to understand the impact of every decision you make. Every time you grab a water bottle that's plastic and drink out of it, like it is impacting you, and it's impacting your fertility now, but it's also going to impact your future children. And we need to start thinking about this beyond just ourselves.
Definitely.
So that was really interesting. And what also was interesting that you shared is that, so really in the 1950s is really when the explosion happened in chemicals, right?
And the oil production.
From petroleum. And in the United States, they pretty much said in the 70s, like, well, whatever chemicals are here, they're grandfathered in as safe because we don't see any problems, but there's never been any safety studies done.
Wow.
And then the other thing is they now, even regulation for new ones doesn't really exist. They kind of say like, well, as long as you can kind of show us that it's okay, the same company who's trying to make money off of it, if they can come forward and say like, yep, it looks good, then they are given the green light. So there's only like, I think she said 11 chemicals in the US that are kind of like banned, where it's like 1,100 in Europe.
Wow.
So this is where we really need to start making changes, even as consumers, right?
Absolutely.
We have the power. Like if we're like, yep, I'm going to buy things that are in glass, right? Then there's going to be less demand for plastics.
And I mean, I have to say, like we have to call out brands like Shein and Temu and these like Chinese-based companies that are selling clothing and selling products for super cheap, and then doing all these advertisements, and everyone's like, oh, I need that, and oh, it's only $2 compared to like $12 on Amazon or whatever. Well, the quality that you are getting is so much poorer than what you would be getting if you were getting it on Amazon, for one. Two, the shipping, like think about all of that, like shipping all that stuff from China, like what you're doing to the world when you do that. It's just like so many choices that we make. We could be making better choices for us, for our kids, for the next generation. And a lot of times we're just thinking about what is the cheapest for me. And I understand it's easy to do that in this economy too. Because think about it. I mean, like it's extremely volatile right now. Prices are sky high. Even if you make a livable wage, prices are still insane right now. Like it is so hard for people even living what would be considered a very good amount. Like people are still barely making ends meet because of how bad inflation is. I was going to say inflammation, probably both, but inflation and inflammation. But inflation and the cost of like employment is not, like wages are not matching that. And so it's just like, it's really important to think about, like, before you buy that like cheap clothing, it's not just like, okay, the price might be cheaper, but like, what is it doing to your body?
And I think we need to think more like, I'm going to buy something that's quality that maybe costs more, but I'm going to take care of it and keep it a long time versus like, well, I'll just buy a new shirt tomorrow or whatever. So we just need to be thinking more about that. So it's not, and maybe we should talk about, you know, the places where we actually come in contact with plastics the most. It actually isn't clothing that has the biggest impact on us. It's actually water and food. The kitchen and the bathroom are the most dangerous rooms in our house from that type of exposure. Actually, almost all chemicals. So what we wash our dishes with, what we cook our food on and in, the plastics are most dangerous when they're heated and when we're exposing them to our food.
Wouldn't that be like the same with washing your clothing too, with like those pods that have plastic in it too, probably? Yeah,
likely. But we think about it even with our dishes, right?
Exactly.
And the soaps, all of them have these chemicals in them. Or a TV dinner. I mean, what could be worse than that, right? You're putting your food, which is in plastic, you're cooking it in a microwave or even an oven. When the second you start heating it, then those chemicals are leaching into your food and then you're consuming it. I see it all the time. People using plastic liners in crock pots. Do not do that. Or cooking their turkey in a plastic bag in the oven. Like that's a thing. And so that's the worst you could do. And oils carry these toxins and fats even more so than others. So you want to be thinking about it. I think about it even when we go get our roasted turkey at the store that's pre-cooked. They're almost always in plastic containers under a heat lamp to keep it hot. That's like the worst thing that we could be doing. And then there's oils from the meat, right? They're just leaching all of those chemicals right into the meat. So we just have to think about it. Okay, can I just go to the store, buy a chicken? It's going to take more time, but I will cook it myself and it'll be healthier for our family if we do it that way. It'll likely cost us less too, but
just FYI, the co-op does sell their chickens in I think it's a compostable container at the bottom. Is that better than probably what Marketplace would have, or Walmart?
So it's one of the reasons why if we do get one, I try to go to the co-op because of the container that it's in. It's safer for you. So things to know about phthalates. So they're in fragranced products. So again, I don't wear perfume anymore. I have very expensive perfume that's just been sitting in my bedroom, because I know that all of those chemicals that are in perfumes are actually horrible for you. The air fresheners, the ones that hang from the wind, or like in the car. We took an Uber this past weekend, and oh my gosh, the person had 3 of them hanging, and I literally felt sick. By the time we were done with our drive, and this poor young man was obese. I saw signs of insulin resistance and all of that, and I'm just like, what do I do? Do I tell him, like, you're literally poisoning yourself by driving in this car all day with this air freshener? But people don't understand the Febreze, all this stuff.
Glade.
You don't use them. Use essential oils instead if you're going to use any kind of scented anything. So get rid of the fragrances.
I used to, have you seen those little ones that they put in the car that you like literally clip to the exchange that the air comes out of? Oh my goodness, yes. And so they have that, and those are the worst.
Oh, I can only imagine.
I think I got one to like test one time for like a company. I'm just like, this is the worst thing ever, because it's just like that scent is just like so forceful and powerful. I'm like, oh, I know this is terrible for my body.
Yes. And then cosmetics is another big one. Plastic packaging and vinyl. People don't think about this with their vinyl flooring. So it's cheaper. So people are filling their homes with vinyl flooring. It actually is full of phthalates and toxic chemicals. So just things to be thinking about, right? It usually, if something is kind of the cheap way out, it is not the safer one. Pads too, like feminine products. Yes. I'm sure they probably have a bunch of chemicals in those too. Yes. So either, are you thinking of even like tampons and things that have the plastic applicators? So they can either do it applicator free, or they do have organic. So I've switched over to organic tampons that have like a cardboard based applicator if you want to use an applicator. So just thinking about all that. But yes, even in pads they have fragrances, and let alone the chemicals they put in them. So thinking about moving to more organic based pads, or you can even get like cloth ones that you wash in. But for me, I have to be at work and I need more absorbents, you know, so it doesn't work for me. But I think it's great if people can do that. But I think it'd be fun to, in our Facebook group, like have a little discussion, and like if there's certain like products that people are looking for, like substitutes, like like ask us, like drop it in there, and we can give you some suggestions too. Or put out your favorite ones. Absolutely. Like if you've gone through the work of investigating a bunch of pads and trying different ones, and you're like, this one's great or whatever, to share with other people, I think that'd be great. Definitely. So things to know about phthalates. So they're in fragrance products, cosmetics, plastic packaging, vinyl. Why do they matter? They interfere with androgen balance, which are testosterone, but also with estrogen, and they decrease ovarian reserve, can cause earlier menopause and pregnancy complications. And they're often hidden on labels under fragrance. So I love to use the EWG and the Yucca app. And so I just slowly start going through your stuff, and you can scan and see, okay, they'll give it a rating as far as how safe is it based on what we know. And they'll tell you why, like if 0 is the best, 10 is the worst. And if it gives it a number 3 or whatever, you can click on it and it'll tell you why. And some of it's like an allergy concern, like, cause it could even have as a fragrance, it might use an essential oil, but some people have an allergy to that. So they'll mark that, but but for you, it might be like, well, it's not an endocrine disruptor. Yeah. It's not, it's not going to cause cancer. I'm still going to buy this product. Right.
Yeah.
So it's important to look as why do they score it this way? Because it may be a big deal. It might not be a big deal for you.
Sure.
But I always look for, I try to avoid the things that can cause endocrine disruption. That means disrupting your hormone balance, or potentially carcinogenic. Yeah. Those are the biggest ones, or developmental issues, right? So those are big ones that I try to stay away from. And so you can start working your way through those. Other things, though, that you want to be aware of. Oh, I was going to mention, and I think I got off track. A really interesting fact they had mentioned was that sperm count, when they looked at sperm count in the 1973 and compared it to 2011, average sperm count has gone down over 50%. Yeah. That's scary.
Yeah.
And infertility rates are going up by 1% a year in each sex, which means that combines to 2%.
Wow.
So in 10 years, our fertility is going to go down 20%.
Wow.
And in some regions, she was saying, like Singapore and other areas, the fertility is so poor. Like the government is trying to incentivize and help people have children because the average is 1 child per couple. And that's not because that's what they're wanting. It's because they're not able. And that's scary. And they don't know what to do about it because you can't replace your population by only having 1 child per couple.
Yeah.
So it's a real big issue. And so she shares a lot on the podcast, and I'm sure goes into more on the documentary about this is her book she came out with called Countdown. And it is really going into why is this such a big deal, and that this is huge. It should be front page news. This is a problem, and what can we do to change this? But I think the powers that be that hold the money and lobbying are unfortunately not in our favor. But if we are empowered and can make different choices, our money actually can influence things, and we can take control over our life.
It's very true. Yeah. I think that it kind of like used to look like, it's had to be crazy and to be going against the grain on this, because I mean, it's a big thing to stand against, you know? Because like you said, it is in everything, and it is everywhere. I mean, we're sitting in a room right now that probably has 1 million things made of plastic. I mean, 1 million easily. I mean, I see it all around me. Everywhere I look, I'm like, there's plastic bags over there. There's, anyway, it's everywhere. And I think that in the past, people really did look like, kind of crunchy, and it's just like, oh, I can never obtain that. They're crazy or whatever. But it's just like small choices every day that can kind of lead to this like revolution of like, oh yeah, I'm not just going to go with the status quo and buy what everyone else is buying, because like maybe that's not good for me. Maybe it doesn't have good effects on me and my health and my future and my kids. I just think like mindfulness matters in this, and like really like thinking about what we're doing. I think we live in such a consumerism age that it's just like, oh, yep, it's cheap and I'm just going to buy it. I want it, right now. And it's like, that's not always the best choice for you. Oftentimes it's not.
No, but and I just think we have the power to influence the next generation. If our children live in a home and get used to like not using the plastic bags at the store, using glass and washing out glass and or metal, stainless steel, like and knowing the why of why we're living this way, it just becomes their normal. But we have to be the generation that pushes back and says, no, we're not going to go the easy route, because the easy route isn't good for us, and it's possible for us to do this in a safer way. So other things that people think about with plastics would be like BPA.
Yes.
But what a lot of people don't realize, so BPA is found in plastics, but food can linings, receipts, so that paper receipt that you get from the cash register, if you don't need it, just tell them to throw it away. Some people really like to keep those receipts, which is fine, but then you better go wash your hands right afterwards, because you actually absorb that through your skin. And so tuck them away wherever you need to. Wash your hands, especially if you're going to go eat, but you do absorb it through your skin, and it mimics estrogen. So these are really well-known endocrine disruptors, and they can actually bind in your body to receptors where normally it would receive estrogen, but it blocks then your own natural estrogen from doing what it needs to do. And we know that when men take testosterone, what happens? Their sperm count actually goes down because their brain perceives, oh, there's more estrogen. Testosterone. We don't need to send the signal to the testes to do their function, right? So then their sperm count actually goes down when you take testosterone. So what happens then if we have all these chemicals that represent estrogen, right? Yeah. Then all of a sudden now we're seeing that our ovarian reserves going down, our fertility is going down, and that's all being impacted by these fake estrogens floating around in our body and blocking the receptors from natural estrogens.
Crazy.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
So
it's scary though.
Yeah. So it's linked to reduced egg quality, even IVF failure. So people trying to get pregnant via IVF and altered menstrual cycles.
Wow.
And even though they have products out there called BPA free, they mostly then just replace those with BPS as in Sam or BPF as in Frank, which have the same, if not worse, impacts on us. So they just do like a little swapperoo and go, hey, look at me, I'm BPA free, it's all good. Yeah. So, and honestly, that happens all the time when we find the thing that's not good and they go, we're going to replace it with this and it's going to be great. They did that with glyphosate. When they saw that the other chemicals that were horrible, and they're like, well, the glyphosate's just fine. Look at this. We can drink it and we're all good.
It's the same thing with, processed foods. I mean, we're not getting into that in this one, but I think about that with like gluten free and then all of a sudden there's a million ingredients and it's like, this wasn't even better for me.
Yes. Right.
You're still getting fat. It's still processed, I think like sometimes it can be like really tempting, like when you are trying to limit things and then you see all these like tasty temptations. It's like, but it's gluten free. It's like, yeah, but
there is no easy button.
Correct.
I think people just need to understand that. Yep. Like there is no easy.
Right.
And if they do say easy, there's usually a price that comes with it. And so you have to just recognize that we're always being duped into thinking like, oh, great, we'll just switch to this. And you go, wait a minute. Likely it's still not safe for you.
No.
And so we need to go back
to the roots.
We need to go back to how did people do things 100 years ago, 200 years ago? Because that was the way we need to do it now. Even farming. I mean, everything. Yeah. How did they do everything back then? That's how we need to do it now.
That's so true. I think that, we've definitely talked about this before, but it can't be overemphasized. It's so important in this crazy busy world to make those choices and to do your meal prep ahead of time on Sundays and to make your own bone broth, all these things, like going back. I do see there is a tug on this generation, like our generation, the millennials. Like, I know you don't consider yourself that, but you are. It's like there is this call back to I'm gonna make my own broth. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna make this healthy choice. And it's like I do believe there is an awakening happening right now where it's like we are coming back to that and making your garden. It's almost, by the time this comes out, it'll be May. It's garden time. Get your plants, put them in the ground. Start making your own food. It's awesome. Then you can make so much from what comes in your garden. It's exciting. It's fun.
I feel like all of that was kind of robbed from us. Like my mom grew up learning all of this stuff. She, they had their own garden. That's how they made their food. They canned all their food to get ready for winter. She made all of her own clothing. Like she learned all this. We were robbed of that.
Because of the TV, right? At least for me, that's what it was. I see you, Mom. I'm going to go watch TV. Now it's social media instead. Now that's what's happening to this next generation. It's like, oh. I
think it was this one, we now went into two parents working. I think that was huge. And that was my mom. So she was working and my dad were working. She didn't have time to do all that and then teach us how to do it, right? So I think that's part of it as well, is like with the 70s and into the 80s, it became like people are working and they're professional and convenience was sold big time. Absolutely. Convenience is the way to go. That's the new cool mom is TV dinners and fast foods and all all of that. And it robbed us of learning the art of homemaking, how to grow our own food, how to make our own clothes, how to pick out like linens and know what's good quality fabrics, and actually take pride in being able to do all this stuff. And I'm like, I want to learn, you know.
Do you know how to sew? Have you done that before?
No. Like I did a home ec class in 7th grade, which they don't even do anymore, right? Oh, yeah. They don't do home ecs anymore.
Sewing machine downstairs.
Yeah, so. I actually have a sewing machine in my basement. Hey. I learned how to like do some things, but not enough to be like, yeah, I'm going to make a dress. But I think like that would be so cool. I would love that. It's even now, right? I'm a professional, like trying to find time to do all that. But I see it in my generation, the wanting to and the trying to make time. Like I'm doing my gardening. I'm like, I love all that stuff and trying to, you know, do a little as I can, but I see it in my daughter, like her really wanting to, you know, she learned how to make sourdough. She's, you know, learning how to sew. She actually took a class. And so she's learning how to sew and embroider and do all this stuff. And I'm like, man, I'm jealous. Like I want to do all that. But she has this desire to do that. She has a desire to be at home with her kids and to be at homesteading. And I see the Lord resurrecting all of this. So now we need to pair it with the knowledge of why is this important and how can you do this in a way that promotes your health and the health of your family and protects them, and not to make our children have fear, but to say, hey, this is the reality of what's out there. And this is why, you know, if you see this milk is more expensive, but it's in a glass container that you can bring back, you probably want to pick that one. And this is why. So, but knowledge is power. And so the more we know, at least we have the ability to then make a different choice versus being completely blind to it, which is what I think we've been living in the last 20 or more years.
Definitely. Yeah, no, it's really interesting.
Other things that I'll just mention, like forever chemicals, PFAS, those would be also in your kitchen. So another thing to be thinking about. So those are in non-stick cookware.
Yes.
So switching over to either ceramic or metals.
Yeah.
Even iron, cast iron.
The Hexclad, like the Gordon Ramsay brand, the Hexclad, they have it at Costco, but they only have it at certain times. But I have had my eye on that for the longest time because it is expensive, but I'm just like, yes, I want to switch everything over to that when I can.
Yeah. So you have to think of it as an investment. So we switched over to stainless steel, but we did it on Black Friday.
Okay.
Right. Yeah, we were like, okay, we're going to invest in this, but we're going to wait until it's on a deal. Right. And so we waited and got a good deal on it, but we thought of it as an investment for our family and got rid of all of our non-stick spray stuff. So it's also in stain resistant fabrics and food packagings, and they actually persist in your body. Your body can't get rid of these chemicals.
Wow.
And they also affect hormone signaling. So they are linked to longer times to pregnancy, irregular cycles, increased risk of endometriosis. Yeah, as far as we know, there's a procedure. It's a type of plasma cleaning. It's almost like dialysis, but not really. But they can actually clean the chemicals out of your plasma. That it's a really expensive, like thousands of dollars to have this procedure done. But they can take out, and I've had some patients actually go have it done in the cities who were really sick post-COVID and actually felt amazing afterwards. All the spike proteins got cleared out of their blood. But it takes out some of these forever chemicals, plastics and things. So I don't know in the future if this will be more affordable and then we'll be able to do this, because I really think with the age that we live in, like chemical burden is really, I think, one of the major things that's a root cause of illness for so many people. And we're kind of unaware of it, right? How many of us have half the sperm count, right, that our grandpa would have had, and we have no idea. No idea. And people always think that it's the woman that has the fertility problems, but that's not the case. Half of it looks like it's a third. So a third is related to the men having issues with sperm quality as well as count. A third female issue, and a third is a combination, or they can't figure it out.
Wow.
So it's not just all a woman's problem. Yeah. So we just need to be aware of that. Other things, I think maybe a good one to end on would be flame retardants. Because I think about babies. Do you know that it's like super hard to find baby clothes that doesn't have flame retardants in it?
Wow. Because
they're told they have to have flame retardants in baby sleepers and different things. But those are chemicals that are toxic to them. Oh, wow. And our beds, what we're sleeping on every single night, all of those that have flame retardants in them. Wow. Our couches, everything's got flame retardants, and those are toxic chemicals to us. So that was another thing I was thinking about was, okay, do we invest in a new organic bed mattress? When should we do that? You know, these are all just changes to be thinking about if you have a new baby, like thinking about, okay, because you can find them out there. You can find baby jammies and different things that don't have the flame retardants in them. They have to have a big warning label on them. Oh, wow. Yep. But those are the ones you want. Yeah. So, because those are toxins. So they're found in furniture, electronics, dust, even clothing, right? And why does it matter? They disrupt thyroid hormones, which in turn interact with your reproductive hormones, and they cause reduced fertility and altered menstrual cycles. Wow. But so we need to be ever aware. There's more on my list, but those are good ones to kind of start with. Definitely. And so a lot of people are going like, what do I do? Like, where do I start? So the biggest impacts, I think, the biggest win, number one, is stop heating your food in plastic. Yeah. There's so many people who will throw saran wrap on, right? Their hot food still, and then put it in the fridge. Yeah. Or they'll keep the saran wrap on and then throw it in the microwave. Like, don't do that. Or they even buy those like plastic covers to put over your food so you don't have the splatter go around your microwave. Yep. But you're heating that, and it's actually putting off chemicals into your food. So don't do that. Take a paper towel or something, and don't use a Tupperware to heat your food in. Take it, if you have to use the Tupperware, only cold food in the fridge, and then take it out, put it in a ceramic bowl, and then put it in the microwave. Even better yet, don't use the microwave.
I was going to say the same thing.
Put it in it, but
or heat it up on your oven,
on the stovetop.
I mean, we do that all the time.
Yes.
The amount of time that it takes, like luckily we have a gas stovetop, so it doesn't take that long to heat up the food. I mean, we're talking like 3 to 5 minutes to heat up a bowl of soup. Right. Come on. That's not that much longer. And I mean, if you put it in the microwave, it changes the whole like molecular structure like of the food product.
Well, you're putting radiation into your food.
So you're not even eating the exact same thing that you put in there. It's like you have changed it. And it's like, that's not good.
Right. So you're actually irradiating your food, and then you're taking that radiation into your body and eating it. And it does impact you.
Don't stand in front of the microwave. Well, then should you really be eating the food that came out of the microwave if you shouldn't stand in front of it either?
And this is even a good reminder for me, right? Because I can get in a hurry and pop something in, or like at work, I have no other option. We don't have another way. We don't have a stove anymore to heat things. So there is no other option.
Those little crock pots, or something, like they have like a little work ones that you can like bring.
That's a thought.
There's a couple different options. I'll have to like send you some ideas, because I know like when Gary worked at the job, I was like the same thing. Like, I wonder if I could just get you this little like crock pot or something. They have like mini ones for at work. Yep. Also, I really like those hydro flasks. I heat my soup up in the morning before I go on the oven. Oh, yep. And then I put it in that. And then, so like when I worked at the polls the other day, Gary did bring me one in that, but he brought me my hot soup in my container that was safe.
We've done that when we've gone skiing.
Oh yeah.
Like we've had to bring like soup or chili or something with us to eat, so we're not eating French fries or whatever is there. And we'll actually heat it up and then put it in a thermos kind of thing. So I just need to be thinking about it ahead of time, and doing it and have time, right? Yeah, just make the time to do it.
Totally.
And so not mixing plastic and heat with our food. So big one, just thinking about, okay, what can I do different to avoid that? And then the next is cutting out fragrances. Get the fragrance-free products. Stop wearing perfume. Like just cut it out and find some essential oil. I know there's some out there. My daughter was just seeing something the other day, like, oh mom, there's some perfumes that are all essential oils that smell so good, and I'm like, oh, okay. I just have gone so long without wearing any. I don't think about it anymore, but for some people it's really important to them. Yeah. And so just knowing, okay, there's some other options, and get rid of the air fresheners and different things you have in your house, right? I was giving my mom a hard time. She's got these Glade things, and I'm just like, Glade. Take those out.
Glade
take those
and Febreze to me are like, the 7 deadly sins, like the 7 deadly products.
And they do make essential oil sprays for like your bathroom, because a lot of people want them in their bathroom, right? Yeah. And so there are healthier options. Yeah. So getting rid of fragrances, reducing contact with receipts, which we talked about. So if you don't need it, tell them like, nope, throw it away. I do that all the time. Like, I don't need it. I don't need it at the gas station. My husband doesn't agree. He takes all of his receipts, but I'm like, fine.
Even though I know, I still do, because I have an app that I scan them. So they all like give me money for like scanning my receipts and like checking my products. And then I need to put it in my budget. If I don't put it in my budget and don't remember it. So, unfortunately, but it's just like learning. It's just like, okay, wash your hands. I feel bad for the cashiers though, that are touching them all throughout the day.
Yes.
Cause some companies like the Co-op, they don't even print receipts unless you ask for them.
Yes.
But there's so many companies that they're just popping out, and then those poor cashiers have to touch it like a million times a day. You know?
Yep. And then we talked about this, swapping out your cookware, right? And so you can even go like our favorite cast iron pan that we own actually came from Goodwill.
Oh, really?
Yes. And what's cool about cast iron, right, is it needs to get seasoned. And so the longer you use it, actually the better the pan gets. And so then you finding a cast iron pan at a Goodwill or at like a garage sale or something, and sometimes those can be like gold and don't cost you very much at all, or anything. You may get a little more iron in your food, but most of us need that. So it's fine. So that's an inexpensive way to get a safer pan rather than the Teflon stuff, which is awful for you.
I was going to mention too, Grove Collaborative is a great website. So if you just Google Grove Collaborative, it is awesome for like healthy, essential, like cleaning products and things like that.
Nice.
So they would have like all of those like fragrances, and like they test like everything and make sure it's like really like healthy, good stuff.
Okay.
And they have like a subscription. So like you can get monthly shipments for like whatever cleaners you want. Okay. But I love that website. I haven't used it in a while, but they sell a lot of like glass cleaning like jars, like with spray, like nozzles on them. Yep. So you can make your own products, like, with vinegar and water, things like that.
Yep.
So anyway, it's an awesome website.
Yeah. Even like our soap, we got all like hand soaps. Like we got glass jars for our hand soap, and then we just use the refillable stuff. And so there's just different things you can swap out.
Totally.
And then the last thing is really like drinking water. And filtering your drinking water if possible, like, because so many chemicals are in our drinking water. So just thinking about that, and I think reverse osmosis and adding back minerals is probably the best way to go, or distilled is even better, but that's a little harder to do. But those would be our better options. But doing some level of filtration is going to be better than none at all. Definitely. So thinking about that, those are some key things. Like you can just start lowering your burden, and then as you're running out of products, use those apps we talked about and and see like, how is this product? Is it good, or should I consider replacing it? And then you're not wasting anything, right? And then it's not overwhelming, and you're not spending a bunch of money at one time. And then you can just swap it out for something else that works better. Yeah.
I'm going to do a whole episode on money stuff in the next couple of weeks.
That'll be good.
But a little tip, like I really love this website called hip2save.com.
Oh, you've shown me that.
It's not like everything on it is healthy. So don't go there thinking like, oh, this is Monique recommended and everything on it is like super healthy and Monique approved. Absolutely not. But it does just kind of sends me like a daily email with like the deals that they found throughout the day. And a lot of times they'll have amazing sales on like glassware, like Pyrex and like glass containers. So like if you already have like in your mind certain things that you want to replace, it's an awesome website that sends out a daily email with probably like 40 to 50 different deals on products on the internet. And it's like Black Friday every day in your inbox, you know, it's like, nice. Oh wow, that's only $10 for that glass. And so you can kind of do it in like chunks of time instead of like all at once, you know, like you're not going to Costco and spending like $300 on glass. Like maybe you're spending $10 this week and then you can get rid of those plastic containers. And the next week, okay, now I can buy a little more. So just kind of helps. So it's not like so overwhelming. So yeah.
The other thing I've done is I use a lot of ball jars.
Oh yeah, so, me too. I have a ridiculous amount. Don't even ask.
So, you know, there's all kinds of sizes and it's handy to be able to store things in those and use them for all kinds of purposes. So that's one thing that I've done instead of trying to find these Tupperwares or different things. Like, we'll just use ball jars and store things in them that way.
An embarrassing amount. I'll show you before you go. Don't anyone ask for that photo. It's crazy.
And then even for like when I replaced and I was doing alternative milks, right? Because we like will blend our own.
Yep.
So we've got a big ball jar that's got a stainless steel pour lid.
Oh, nice.
So then I'll just put our milk alternative after we've blended it into that. So it's stored in glass and pouring out of a stainless steel top. So it's nice. Lots of different options out there that maybe people don't think about. And you can drink out of them, right? Yeah. So you can put a different topper on it and now it's your tea, you know? Yeah. So I've done that all the time too.
I'm a weirdo. I think it tastes better in glass. Like literally
it likely does.
I take my cans of sparkling water and I just like pour them into a glass container and I'm like, oh, this is so refreshing. It tastes so good. You know? And then Kira's like, you are crazy. I'm like, maybe, but it brings me a little joy. So
I think the last thing maybe just to be mindful of, people don't think about, is just buying plastic water bottles or drinks out of plastic bottles and just trying to limit that and remembering having them in heat also worst thing. So you don't want to leave a plastic water bottle in the heat of summer in your car and then you bring it inside, let it cool off and you drink it. It's loaded with toxins. So just thinking about that, even thinking about that for us at the camper, because a lot of times we'll store our drinks right in the non-air conditioned part of the camper, right? And just thinking, oh Lord, they're probably getting really hot. And that's not great. So if you are going to do those kinds of drinks and they're stored in plastic bottles, trying to keep them in a place that's cool.
Yeah, that's important. Yeah. Well, I just had a thought and missed it, but I was just going to say, circling back to the clothing, I know you had mentioned that it's important to like, you know, think about it, but not maybe think about it as much as other things. But I do want to just say, like, I think that there's like an obsession with clothing and like just like always getting like the new thing and just like that fast fashion. I've also watched documentaries on that. And unfortunately, the amount of clothing that is like in landfills and is like causing so many issues in our society because people don't want all these clothes and they quickly want new stuff. And so that's why like the cheap stuff becomes so popular. And I think we need to like push back on that. And if like you are going to buy like cheap stuff, go to a thrift store, you know, like go to a place where it's like, it's already sitting there. And instead of like spending a bunch of money and getting a bunch of stuff online, like buy or use, come to my garage sale. And I was not going to put that plug in, but do it. Come to my garage sale. I literally have like, oh my gosh, like probably 400, 500 pieces of clothing because I'm selling for somebody else, but it's a great way. I mean, I have so much like fun, cute stuff that I'm going to be pulling out that would refresh your wardrobe without buying a bunch of stuff online. So it's just like reducing the carbon footprint is important. And I don't think it's something that a lot of people think about on a daily basis.
I actually think about like, what are the working conditions of the people overseas that are making all these clothes? And it just breaks my heart thinking about that too. But I think having a more minimalist kind of attitude is probably really what we need to think about. I mean, I think in every aspect of our life,
I totally agree.
Really trying to like simplify everything. I think we'll be happier people and less distracted people.
Easier to clean, easier to dust.
So anyway, just things to bring before the Lord. Maybe learn a little bit about, maybe you want to check out the documentary that
the Plastic Detox.
Or her book, Countdown. So, and just thinking about, okay, Lord, what areas can I start kind of detoxing my life and not have this be overwhelming or a burden or fear that's driving it, but rather a sense of maybe responsibility for ourselves, for the temple we live in, and for our children, and being able to teach them how to be good stewards as well.
Yeah. Amen. Yeah. Let the Holy Spirit guide you in these decisions.
Yeah. All right, guys, have a great week. We'll see you next time.
Bye.
Hey everybody, thanks for joining us today. If you liked what you heard, make sure you share it with your friends, and also subscribe so when we do release a new episode, you will be the first to know it.
And please be sure to like us on Instagram and Facebook. We also have a new Facebook group where you guys can come in and dive into conversation with us, ask us questions. So we would love to see you there as well.
Yeah, we look forward to seeing you there.